Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Stacey Whitmer. I am a national marketing director with the Juice Plus company, and I am so honored to be sharing the stage tonight with my incredible friend, mentor, and other national marketing director with the Juice Plus company, Miss Kim McColl. You know, we are here tonight to share with you about when we knew we were meant for more. Okay, because you have to understand that what we do every single day might not be what truly lights a fire in us. What we do every day might not be what really makes us want to get up and jump out of bed, to inspire, to impact. So there are so many different moments in our lives that I think play such different roles. And when I think about being meant for more, when I knew I was meant for something greater, it stands out in my mind as one of those things that I'll never forget. And I'm hoping that anybody that's listening to this right now has those moments too, where maybe they are settled, they're stuck somewhere, and maybe they truly know they're meant for more, but they don't know what to do or how to get out of it. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about my story, and then Kim is going to share with you her story, and we're going to get started. We're going to answer 4 questions tonight. We are going to reach out. We are going to answer 4 questions, and they start like this. When did we know we were made or meant for more? What obstacles did we overcome, or are we still overcoming as we kind of go through our journey? What stories did we tell ourselves along the way? And where do we see ourselves now and moving forward? So we're going to be answering those questions for you tonight, and we're just so excited that you're here. So like I said, my name is Stacey Whitmer, and I worked for 11 years in corporate America. I thought the first half of my career was fine. I just assumed that this was supposed to be my life. I assumed this was supposed to be my forever. And I assumed that because that's all I knew. That's all I knew. And maybe a lot of you feel that way too. You're working that 9 to 5, that 8 to 7, whatever it is. Maybe you're working that time frame thinking that this is what you're supposed to do. Is it? So I worked in corporate America for 11 years, and half of that time I was fine. It wasn't until I had my children that I was really, really torn. I was torn between staying in that corporate job and being home with my kids, but I had a huge income, and it's not something you were just going to walk away from. I truly felt stuck. I truly felt like I was doing something that I didn't want to do anymore. I truly felt like I was in kind of quicksand, and there was no way out. And there are 2 specific moments that I remember where I truly felt like I was meant for more. One of them was a February. My oldest, I had a baby, and my oldest, I think, was 2 or 2.5. He was very young. And I remembered pulling out of my driveway, and the front of my door was kind of fogged up because it was really cold outside, but it was warm in the house. And my youngest was pressed up against the window, face pressed up against the window, hysterical crying. And the vision I see as I'm pulling out of my driveway is my nanny holding the baby, my oldest pressed up against this window, and him hysterical crying. And I remember driving away sobbing, thinking to myself, this can't be my forever. I cannot truly think that this is what I was meant for. This is heartbreaking, and truly was not something I wanted to continue to do. But I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know what else I was supposed to do. I will never forget that day, because as I drove away in my fancy suit, in my fancy car, with my fancy shoes, with my fancy income, I was broken. I was unhappy, and I couldn't believe that this is what I had to do right now. I couldn't believe I had to leave to go do a job that I didn't have any passion for. Understand that I was paying my nanny more than my mortgage to raise my children, and I wasn't happy there anymore, but I didn't know what else to do. That was one distinct moment in my life that I will never forget, thinking this can't be my forever. I knew that something bigger was supposed to happen, but I just didn't know what it was. The second moment that I will never, ever forget, it was just a few months after that first one. It was pretty quick right after. My baby was 5 months old. I was 35 minutes from my house. I just got chills because this story gets me all fired up every time I talk about it. I was 35 minutes from my house, about to call on a specific doctor that was required to see that day. And I had just pulled up. I didn't even get out of my car. And I get a phone call from my nanny, and she's screaming on the phone, hysterical, crying on the phone. And I said, what's going on? You got to tell me what's happening. So now my heart's racing. I don't know what's happening. And all I hear is, I fell down the stairs holding Derek, and he's not moving his leg. So here I am, 35 minutes from my house. My nanny has fallen down the stairs. My 5-month-old is clearly something's not right. But more than anything, I wasn't there. I wasn't there. So, and what's going through your mind at that point? I truly, really remember this day as if it just happened this morning. I remember driving home for that 35 minutes, praying that A, he wasn't too badly hurt. And that B, that there was going to be something that was going to get me out of this life because I didn't want this anymore. But understand, and I'm sure so many of you might feel this way, you don't know what else to do. And that's how we get stuck. So I drove home like a crazy person. All I wanted to do was be with my kid. He wasn't moving his right leg. Turns out he had 2 breaks in his leg, 5 months old. And those breaks meant that he had to wear a cast for a significant amount of time. And that also meant I got to be home with my baby for a few weeks because he was hurting. And, that day, I remembered saying to my husband, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be here. But unfortunately, I had no other option. When you make an income that's providing for your family, you do what you have to do. And that's what I did. I was going through the motions. I was working to pay the bills. I wasn't working because I wanted to, or that because my heart was there. I will never forget that day driving home, thinking to myself, there has to be a way out of this. This cannot, and this will not be my forever. So now fast forward to just a few months later, okay? Maybe not even a year later. It might have been 10 months later. Oh no, I'm sorry. This was February. So this was the following October, okay? I get a phone call from this big corporate company that I was downsized. And I knew in my heart that something significant was coming. I just didn't know what it was, what the look of that something significant was. But I knew it meant that I wasn't going to be in this job anymore. I knew it. I felt it in my gut. I felt it in my soul that something was going to come in and change my life forever. I knew it. So the day that I downsized was hands down the best day of my life. It was that day that I remembered thinking, I am free. I'm free. I don't have to do this anymore. And I remember thinking and feeling so comfortable with the think of knowing that I was free and thinking being so comfortable knowing that something good was coming. I just didn't know what it was. So 10 days after I was downsized, I went to an event where I learned about the Juice Plus products and the Juice Plus company. A little over 2 years later, I became a national marketing director with this incredible company. And my life has never been the same since. Being able to have passion and purpose every day when I wake up is one of the most incredible blessings in my life. But now let me talk to you a little bit about this journey. These obstacles, right? There are obstacles every single day of our lives. We don't go through any journey without an obstacle. Obstacles are there on purpose to make us better, to make us great. And as I started this journey, here are some of the obstacles that I had to overcome. My mindset. How many of us have mindset issues? Many of us, a lot of us, all of us. I didn't think I had mindset issues, but here I was coming from a corporate world, which was accepted, to doing something that I felt was so much more admirable for me, and I had so much more passion and purpose for it. But now what are people going to think? Are they going to judge me? Are they going to think less of me because I started a whole different career? That could have shut me down in my tracks. But there was no way I was going to allow that to shut me down in my tracks, because at this point, Nobody was taking me away from my home again. At this point, I had a vision, and that vision was to stay home with my children. And I was not going to allow any mindset issue or whatever game I was playing in my head stop me from moving forward with something that I truly loved, knowing that this was going to change my life forever and change my family's financial future forever. So mindset was something that was hard to overcome, but it was something that I wasn't willing to allow to shut me down, because my vision, my why to stay home with my children was way stronger than anybody else's doubt. So I was able to shut that down pretty quickly. The other obstacle for me was now I was a stay-at-home working mom. That was a huge change for me. That was a huge change because I had a full-time nanny. So this nanny did so much for me, for my children, in my home. I mean, I could go on. So now I don't have her anymore because now my income is gone. And instead, I am working full-time, building my Juice Plus business while having 2 children at home. So again, obstacle, yes. Was it a challenge? Absolutely. Was I smart going through that challenge? 100%. Again, it's choices. I chose to keep myself organized, to keep myself focused on what I wanted, so that when I was able to fit in business time, I was truly locked into that business time. So yes, it was a challenge to be now a full-time stay-at-home mommy, with also trying to build a full-time career. But that obstacle just makes all of this so much sweeter, because the day I hit national marketing director with this company and I got that phone call from our company, my entire family was sitting around me, and my children watched this whole thing unfold. They watched this entire business and this entire incredible life change for us. They watched this unfold. And my oldest, the day that we sat there and I got the message, I got the phone call that I was a national marketing director with our company, I will never forget what my 6-year-old, 6.5-year-old said at that point, almost 7-year-old. He said, "Mommy, I'm so proud of you." And I said, "Thank you, buddy." And he said, "You want to know why I'm so proud of you? Because you worked really hard for that." And I did work really hard for that. And so the best thing is that he watched me do that. So what was truly an obstacle, what was truly a challenge, ended up being the most incredible blessing, because my children saw how hard I worked for that. And those words, "You worked really hard for that," meant more to me than any title, because it just showed that he was watching as I was building this. And more is caught than taught. They're watching more than they're listening. So it made me really, really proud to have them be a part of this journey. So that was an incredible piece. You know, the stories that I told myself along the way, you can tell yourself a lot of negativity. A lot of fear can set in when things don't go your way. But at the end of the day, it's how you choose to believe what you tell yourself. I was, of course, in moments of fear that it wasn't going to be, that I wasn't going to be good enough, that I wasn't going to make it. The fear of, again, that judgment, what other people were going to think. But I choose how I feel. I might feel one way, but I was able to remember why I said yes, remember why I started. And for me, my why, my vision, my big picture, truly was always the reason why I pushed through. So the stories I told myself sometimes were great, sometimes weren't so great, but I never forgot why I started. And that is what pushed me through and got me to where I am right now, and it's what's going to continue to get me beyond. Right now, in this moment, I'm in a tremendous place. And, Kim and I were just talking about this. I'm really content. And you know what content means? Content means being in a moment of peaceful happiness. I am confident in this moment. I am happy in this moment. Does that mean that I am not pushing for bigger and better goals? I am not pushing to push myself to new heights. Does that mean I'm not pushing to raise the bar every time? No. It just means that in this moment, I am going through peaceful happiness through the drive. I am happy through all of what I've created, and I am happy through what I'm still going to create. I am truly in a place of content, peaceful happiness. And I am here because I created a vision that I wasn't willing to give up on. I got through a bunch of different obstacles, and I told myself stories that were empowering versus things that pulled me down. And the fact that I'm here and I only see an upward trajectory because of this incredible product and this incredible company, I am truly gifted every single day that I get to wake up and be a part of this mission, especially when I get to do it with people like Miss Kim Trout-McColl. So thank you for allowing me to share my story with you.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I've heard your stories and I still had to get the tissues because I think so many of us can relate to that feeling. I mean, most moms out there can relate to exactly what you're talking about. I am so thankful that you had your meant for more moment and that you pushed through obstacles and that you reframed stories, because my life is so much better because you're here. So thank you for pushing through those obstacles. It has meant the world to so many of us. We love you. Anyway, for those of you on the phone, some of you know me better than others. My name's Kim McColl. And I think what I first want to do is kind of paint a picture of kind of who I am, who I've always been, because that'll give you some context to my journey. So you have to first picture me as like a little girl, like in pigtails, 2 pigtails. I should have done it. We'll call her Kimmy, okay? So my parents would often say to young Kimmy, no less than 500 times in my life, they would say, when are you going to realize that life is not just one big party? Which was really hard to hear, right? Because I thought it was. My response was always, when it stops being one. Okay? So I have been wired for fun since birth, okay? So picture that. Fast forward just a little bit. Pigtail's still there, still Kimmy. This is my high school yearbook. And there's some people on the phone from the class of 94. I might read their quotes too. But here's me, senior year. I want to read you 2 quotes. One of them said, choose a job you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life. Wise, right? The other one said, and this is borderline cheesy, but it says, in the game of life, even front row center seats don't interest me. I came to play. And I read that to my kids the other night, and my daughter was like, that's really cringy, Mom. And I was like, yeah, but it's also kind of awesome, right? And she was like, it's totally awesome. I'm so glad you came to play. So that's how I was wired from birth. Fast forward a little more. Pigtails are gone. This is early 20s Kim. Hair is now in a very coiffed tight bun. We can call her Kimberly. We can call this version of me Kimberly. Remember who I always was. I had abandoned that, guys. I was in a highfalutin corporate job, kind of like Stacey talked about, was making great money, but still not what I was worth, mind you. I had flexibility to work from home. I had a lot of good friends that I worked with. It all sounds pretty good, right? It wasn't. It was awful. I was literally choking. I was wearing the handcuffs of stress. There was so much stress that came along with a corporate sales job. And even worse than the stress was the fact that I didn't care at all about what I was doing. This is a person who from birth swore that life was one big party and that I came to play and that you choose a job you love. I turned my back on that girl, okay? And I did what I thought we were supposed to do, and I got a job in corporate America. Huge meant for more moment for me was when I got called into my boss's office and I got offered an extraordinary promotion. And I was like, wow, thank you. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. I left there shaking. I remember pushing the elevator to go to G1 in the parking deck, started hysterically crying in the car. And I was like, I don't want it. I don't want this promotion. And then I thought to myself, well, wait, I should probably take it. Because if I take this, that'll at least be the stepping stone to the promotion that comes after that. And then I thought about the promotion that came after that. And I was like, I don't want that one. And the promotion that came after that. And I was like, I don't want that one either. I don't want that one either. Guys, I was 11 years in. I had spent 11 years of my life spending so much time and energy, so much stress, had robbed me of life is fun, life is one big party. For what? I didn't even want the next step, you guys. And that was so scary to me, scary. And that was the moment for me that I literally started putting it out to the universe. Like, give me a sign, make it loud, show me the way. And it was very shortly after that I was introduced to this community, the Healthy Living Revolution. And it immediately set my soul on fire in a way that that technology sales job never did. And I knew that this was very likely my something more. But you know what? That's a scary moment. It's a really scary moment when you couple knowing you want more with finding something that has so much meaning for you, because you know what it means? It means you're about to have to overcome those obstacles. It means you're about to have to reframe stories so that you can keep going. So I'm going to share a couple of those obstacles and a couple of those stories specific to my journey, because you're probably going to run into some that are similar when you have a meant for more moment and when you're called to go in a different direction. Okay. So first, to put this into context for those that don't know a lot about the Healthy Living Revolution, the reason it lit my soul on fire, the reason I was so drawn is because their mission is to inspire healthy living around the world. Totally cool. To me, there's nothing better. But you also have to understand that at that time of my life, I was walking around filled with fear and guilt, specifically mom guilt, which is the best kind of guilt, right? It's the most consuming kind of guilt. I had fear because my family health history, you guys, is awful. My mom's had cancer twice. My dad's been on heart medication since he was in his 30s, okay? Cancer, heart disease, diabetes, stroke, you name it. I have a loaded gun pointed at me. I had so much guilt, though, because I know for a fact that lifestyle can be that suit of armor that does as good a job as anything else possibly could to protect my family from those bullets, right? So I knew that lifestyle would make the difference. And no matter how hard I tried, I still couldn't make it happen day in and day out, those lifestyle things that needed to happen. So this calling that I'm talking about, this was not a whisper. It was like a battle cry. I knew that I wanted to be a wellness warrior. Obstacle number one, huge. I knew this is what I wanted to do, but I was terrified of being seen as that girl. Who is that girl? You guys know the girl I'm talking about. She's your friend that's trying to sell you something and you don't even like her anymore because of it. Okay? That's that girl. I didn't want to be that girl. But I got really lucky because I had enough friends that were carrying around as much fear and as much mom guilt as I was, that I didn't have to sell them anything. They wanted this. They wanted to get healthy like I did, which was awesome. I didn't have to face that obstacle right away. But then they started telling me the crazy, awesome things that were happening to their families. And I was shocked. And I knew they were telling the truth because they were honest people and they had no reason to tell me anything but the truth. That's when I knew that I had to face that obstacle head on. I knew that I had to tell more people about this. And at first, when I started thinking, oh, that means I have to be that girl, which is not true to me. Then I started thinking, well, who are you, Kim? And I thought, if I know how good this is and I don't tell people about it, that would be like me going right down the street, having the best restaurant of my life and not telling any of my neighbors about it. That's not me. It's not like me at all, right? So all of a sudden, that girl became something appealing to me, okay? So obstacle number one was simply a matter of reframing my fear. Another obstacle was detaching from outcomes. And this is a really hard one for me, guys. And it kind of depends on what your calling is. But when you are crazy passionate about what you're doing, like I am, it's really easy to feel absolutely crazed when someone you love and really care about doesn't see value in it. And that was a massive obstacle for me until I one time heard somebody explain that in life in general, we can throw somebody a lifeline, but we can't grab them. We can't grab it for them. They've got to grab on. So no matter what your calling ends up being, whether it's to move to LA to be an actress or walk away from a corporate job to open your own business, the earlier we decide and learn how to detach from outcome, despite our excitement and despite our belief, things get so much easier. So stories are actually a really big part of my journey, and I'm going to share with you some of the stories that I told myself along the way. And the funny thing about stories is that they're open to interpretation. So if the story that you're telling yourself right now is not eliciting a desirable emotional response, you can either rewrite it or you can reframe it. You can do either one. So story number one that I was telling myself about that leap that I was making into the healthy living revolution was that it simply seemed too good to be true. Okay. And I did a ton of research on our products, on our business, because that's just how I'm wired. All signs pointed to this being too good to be true. Okay. And a lot of us have told ourselves that story before. Maybe it was when you moved to a new neighborhood that seemed so awesome, like the one I'm in now, or when you met your now spouse. It's easy to think things seem too good to be true. And I said to a friend the other day, then I had cauliflower crust pizza. And it changed everything for me. I was like, hey, some things are not too good to be true. After a certain amount of time, I stopped looking for the boogeyman around every corner. I stopped trying to poke holes in the reality of how amazing this was. And I started just being super generous about sharing the product and the business that was changing my family's life right before my eyes. So another story that I told myself, and this was an interesting one, was that this community that I had found that they couldn't possibly care about me as much as they act like they do. Has anyone ever felt that way? You're like, that person's being a little too nice to me. I felt like they can't possibly care about me. And then I had a friend, and that was about to shut me down, by the way, that story. I thought this must be a facade, okay? And then I had a friend going through a really rough time in a relationship. And she said to me one day, you know what, Kim? I just learned one of the most valuable lessons of my life. It's a simple lesson, and I had not learned it until now. And I was like, what? And she said, when people treat you like they don't care, you should believe them. And I was like, whoa, that should be on a shirt or a coffee mug or something. But then I thought, if that's true, and it is, then the flip side must also hold true. When people are treating you like they care, believe them. So I started believing that these people cared as much as they acted like they did. And I was right. They really cared. Another story I told myself over and over again in my life, in particular too, when I started getting excited and feeling success in this journey, was that my life had been so good. I feel so lucky and so blessed. And my twin sister and I have said so many times in life, when is the other shoe gonna drop? Think about that. Think about that story. Things are going good. Something's going good for you. And you think it can't continue. It's gotta stop. That's not true. What I realized that was when people have had a good life, or when something good in general is happening, that evokes one of two feelings. That is either gonna evoke guilt or gratitude. If we let our good fortune evoke guilt, that's gonna play out as self-sabotage every time. If we let our good fortune play out as gratitude, evoke gratitude, that's gonna play out as generosity. That's what I did. I have reframed any time I felt in my life that my life has been too good as gratitude. And then in turn, that has led to generosity. The last story that I told myself, and to be honest, this is potentially the most dangerous because my kids are my world, was that I could not be the kind of mom I wanted to be and be crazy successful in business. And there's probably other people that have told themselves that too, but there's no way I can be the kind of mom I want to be and crazy successful in business. Bull. Biggest bull of all. And you just heard Stacey talk a little bit about it. I am the kind of mom I want to be because of this business. I like vibe high because of this business. I tell myself good stories because of this community that I've been a part of, okay? And good stories grow into good mindset, and good mindset is crazy contagious, okay? So my kids may have escaped croup and flu and pink eye all these years, but they have absolutely caught the mindset of positivity and thriving. And I'm gonna give you an example. This past Monday night, my son is in second grade. We were at his football game. Michael's team was 1 touchdown down, and the other team had possession of the ball. Michael says to the ref, hey, ref, how much time's left on the clock? Ref says, 30 seconds. 30 seconds, son. The parents hear this. The parents around me start packing up. Woo, game's over. We're down by a touchdown. They've got the ball. Only 30 seconds left. Michael out on the field goes, yes, awesome. And then he goes, hey, Mom. He screams at all the parents can hear him. Hey, Mom, there's still 30 seconds left. I can intercept it and run for a touchdown. One of the moms next to me puts down her chair and she goes, or we could think of the next 30 seconds like that. And we're all kind of like, ha, ha, ha. Guess what happened next, guys? Yes. What did I say? Good stories turn into mindset. Mindset, when it's so strong, turns into manifesting. The other team passes the ball. Michael jumps up and catches it, intercepts it, runs all the way down the field, you guys. When we believe the good stories that we're telling ourselves, it becomes mindset. Mindset becomes manifesting. My kids would not be who they are today had I not gone through that growth. Had I not up-leveled my thinking and my mindset completely because of this business and what I've done. So I feel so lucky that I am the mom that I am because of this business. And what do I see for myself now? Again, our words matter. And I'm going to just wrap it up with something somebody said to me when I was Kimmy again. But in our community, we have something called 100 Club. All that means is that you have helped a lot of people get healthy. In fact, you have helped so many people that you're starting to get that level where you're changing the world. It's the ripple effect. If you change enough lives, you change the world. So back to little Kimmy. I remember where I was sitting and I remember my dad looking at me and I remember him saying, you know what, Kim, you are one of those people that is going to change or touch so many lives that you actually change the world. I remember it like it was yesterday. And what's crazy is I believed him. And I was just telling my kids about it the other day. I still believe him. I still believe him, guys. So if you think that what you're saying to your kids isn't sinking in, it is. I believed him. And because of that, because since I was little, I was told that I could change the world, I have literally been looking, my head was like on a swivel for the first 30 years of my life. I was looking for a vehicle to make that happen, right? And literally, I would have been happy with a Honda Odyssey. I would have been. When 8 years ago, somebody handed me a Porsche, right? And and that was the healthy living revolution for me. That was my vehicle to help change so many lives that I would change the world. And I just said to my kids the other day when I was explaining this to them, I didn't waste any time looking for the key because my dad already told me that I was the key, right? So when I saw that vehicle, I knew I was the key. And I started driving, and it's been a beautiful ride, right? So in case no one has ever told you, for all of you that are watching, you can change the world. You are the key to something awesome. You absolutely are. So put your head on that swivel. Keep your eyes open for your vehicle because it's out there. And when you find it, when you have that meant for more moment and you have that calling, you're the key. You've already got the key. You don't need to wait for anything. So it's been a really incredible experience to walk through these obstacles and to reframe these stories, right, in our minds that have helped us get to where we are and get to where we're going.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, I, again, know a lot of your stories, but I love the little Kimmy with the pigtails, and I love how much you can see that change that has happened in your life, from Kimmy to Kimberly to Kim. And there you go. So at the end of the day, we are truly grateful that you have taken the time to listen to this. We hope that we've inspired you, because if you are stuck, if you are settling for something other than what you truly believe is your purpose, don't settle. When have you felt that you were meant for more? There has to be a moment in your life where you were sitting back and you thought to yourself, this cannot be the way I'm meant to spend the rest of my life. I know that we all potentially have had those moments. And if you have had those moments, then please let us know. Let us know how we can help you maybe find passion, maybe find purpose. And no matter what it is, we just hope that we've inspired you to look. We've inspired you to open your eyes to another opportunity that maybe could change your life forever, like it has changed mine, like it has changed Kim's and countless others. We truly were all meant for more. But the only differentiating factor in all of this is what you choose to do with that moment and what you choose to do after that moment. So thank you so much for joining us. We hope you've inspired you to action. Enjoy the rest of your night, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.